Well, hello friends, and thanks for tuning in. Today I will be showing you the time lapse of my garage build. I built it this summer, which is 2025, and I took about 3 months by myself, except a few days where my son came and helped me. Cutting trees was one of those days. For safety reason, I usually have someone at least watching, but in this case we had two saws, and so we chopped all the trees around the future garage for, well, clearly to make a room and for safety reasons, the one that are leaning or weak or almost dead. If you're building, you can keep a few deciduous trees on the south side, which makes for a nice shade in the summertime. And well, if you have pines or fir trees, you can have them keep them on the west northwest to block the wind. Now I'm I'm doing like a full size planning with the 4x4s. That's reverse engineering for the foundation instead of laying it out. Well, I guess it's the layout, but with the actual support. Eventually, it's going to be the supports for the, well, for the garage. So it's going to be part of the framing, and which I did before the foundations. So that's not usually how it goes, but that's that's how I did it, because it's much easier to, well, to see what's what. And my foundation system was a mixed bag of linear foundations and piles and also just on rock. Yeah, we do have a lot of rocks. Actually, we're sitting on the Canadian Shield. If you try digging about 2 feet and you're touching it, so so everything is a bit harder. I mean, it's also very strong. Now we're putting aspenite, which is gonna become structural because I'm gluing it. I don't know if we can see it well. It's all glued and nailed, and later I'll be coming back with reinforcements. So it's acting as a rigidifier, and I don't mind it, sticking up there. I mean, most people would cut it, but it helped later with the framing. I do like using glue. You'll see some Gorilla Glue, or you did. I like it, except don't put any on your skin because you're gonna have a stain for a few days. But you can build a lot of things with the glue and screws. For well, for speed reasons, I'm using a nailer there. I usually like to even mix nails and screws just to make sure, because nails tend to pull out time and vibrations, which screws won't. And when you mix with glue, I mean, you could use some waterproof white glue. It probably is much cleaner, but you can really build your own truss system, or at least make everything very strong. Here on top you see it's a PL, so the regular construction glue. Well, not regular, it's they call it ultimate or something, which is not the ultimate glue by any means, because Gorilla Glue is stronger but harder to use, and I guess I had PL, so I'm using what I got too. So the garage is 32 feet long by 18 feet wide. half of the length, so about 16 foot is up in the air, which that's where all those reinforcements are glued. The other side is well, doesn't need as much stiffness. So now framing is gonna start, which by the way I made a tutorial about, well, you see that I'm talking here. It's a talking head, and you can go and watch it if you want to learn how to frame, because this one is only, I mean, it's 40 times speed. Everything is 40 times speed, and the whole video is about 46 minutes, I believe it will be. In real life, it took me about 3 months, with working almost every day, but not necessarily 8 hours. Like 4, 6 hours usually, depending on my physical condition and the weather, the other projects. So it's not an everyday thing, but I kept at it. And yeah, here one of the thing is I'm using 2x4, and that's the main thing about this design. And the reason being, one of the reason is for ease of construction, because when you're by yourself, you don't want to carry around, long and thick and wide, wide lumber. Like if it's a 2x10 16 footer, that's not a one person thing. So with 2x4s you can really build anything, and I think the beauty is you just have one lumber. So if you ever built and you have like piles of wood, you I mean, you always need the one, below. And so in this case, well, if you have, you don't ask yourself too much question. Even when you go to the hardware store, you just get 2x4s, and you'll know you're going to be able to use them. And if you need more than 2x4, you can always splice them. You can always even glue them on, one on top of each other, which that becomes a little more work. But wood is very easy to work with, so you can really do whatever you want. And I mean, I suffer from some chronic back pain, so a 2x4 is lighter than any other piece of lumber. This is a garage too, so 2x4 is accepted by code. If you were to build a house, you would need a 2x6 minimum here in Canada. So it's appropriate for my build. And well, the last but not the least is the price. You're really getting a good deal on 2x4s, because well, smaller trees can make a 2x4, so it's easier for producers, and well, then hence the price goes down, which is about, I think they were around $3.69, about, and $3.79 depending. They actually rose the price during summer, which they usually do. In March, it's the cheapest, and then it goes up as soon as people start buying a lot. But that's a fair price. It's during COVID, it was over $5 per 2x4 heat footer, and 15 years ago it was 99 cents. That's when U.S. and Canada had a war at it, and it made the prices go down a lot. And I used about 500 2x4s for the whole build. I'm framing at 16 inches. I did the math on the load, and with 2x4s, it was a better decision. I mean, here the loads are mainly snow. I mean, the wind is okay. We don't have the wind that, like, Florida or hurricane prone places have. We do, and we do have a lot of trees. They cut down on the wind load a lot, but snow we can have like tons of snow. And if you're building borderline on the code or um, well, that's rollerblading brakes that got into it. But as I was saying, I just like to overbuild so you don't worry about deflections and a lot of people here have to go and remove snow from the roofs during winter. I mean, old houses, it's a common thing. So this I don't like. I like to overbuild and then you can rest easy. Especially that snow is a good insulator. In this case, it's a moot point because it's this garage is not insulated. And while I was talking about prices and quantities, I mean I did a quick math on the whole thing, and the whole thing cost me 6,000 Canadian dollars of material. You will usually triple if you want the whole price. So labor is 2/3, so 18,000 for 600 square feet. So that's a $30 per square foot garage, and that's very much the lowest I can do because I mean the floor is half rocks. Well, here I'm shaving my beard. That's a summer shave, and well, keep at it. You gotta keep at it. That's sometimes hard, but see, I'm building even the structure of the floor, suspended floor with 2x4s. The problem here is the span and the softness or the deflection of your floor. So you can remedy this with splitting the span, and we'll see it somewhere there. And I did, and then I put some post under because well, it's not too far. You can even notice there's the stump of a tree, a big maple tree in there that I used for temporary support and even bracing so the structure didn't move while I was building. So whatever works, whatever's there. I mean, the stump of a tree will, especially in that place, will probably stay for a long time. Everything is framed at 16, trying to keep it level. And see, now you see the aspenite sticking out. Is actually, well, it's not there that it's helping, but it's going to help. I'm just putting aspenite to be able to keep on going because the surface you're working on matters too. In this case, well, it was harder on the rocks. That's where if you if you have your floor made, it helps for the build. But now you see I moved all the equipment and putting a top plate. So remember, all those are uncut 8-footers, which if you do it, maybe you want to buy them all from the same supplier because sometimes there's a very small difference, and I did have differences. Nothing is perfect, and there's, if you aim for perfection, you usually don't do much because, especially in construction, it's quite long. A lot of moving, lumbers and tools and everything. And if you add some cuts because you want it perfect, well, you'll see that you're not gonna get to the end of your project, and that's worse than everything. So here you see the aspenite being used, and I think I put some glue, but I might have done it after, which I do sometimes. I just inject some glue. So that's the center wall, which is a bearing wall. So that's a three bearing wall design to spread the loads even more. Of course, it goes with the 2x4 idea, and so it's 18 feet span total, and it's 8 and 10. So 10, the 10-foot side is for vehicles, so the garage side, and 8 foot is for storage. And so this is platform framing technique. So the first platform is that 8-footer story, and it's very square. The slope of the roof is going to be made in the truss system, and while that side you see there is a 4 foot, and the top is 6, so there's a 2 feet difference in on 18. So that's the slope of the roof, which is fairly flat, and the middle is around 5, some a little less than 5 because it's closer to the 4 foot. So here, well, I did put a reinforcement, and so that's the actual snow bearing elements, and you see the diagonals, which are part of the truss system. And here they're screwed on the side, which that's normally a no-no. So in this case I had to put reinforcements after, which I'm not showing there, but keep in mind the load here is pretty tremendous with snow. So if you do some side framing like this, um, you can glue and screw and nail it. I mean, gluing and screwing is very strong. Just make sure you have enough screws, because the load is on the screws and on the glue. So here I'm well, keep going. So every you see the roof system. Yeah, yeah. I got, see, the 2x4s are, these are 10-footers. These are the rare 10-footers I bought to save time, and because I spliced a bunch, but at one point time is of the essence, so I just went ahead and got 10-footers. And while I never got delivered, I thought I was going to deliver the plywood on the top, which usually is the smart thing to do, and I don't know, I did not. The problem when you get delivered, if you don't have a lot of room, is you have to deal with all the pallets. So I really hauled everything with my cars and trailer once in a while. So it was I used, I take 50 or 100 2x4s, and it lasts me the day. So here you see the structure is pretty much going along, and getting ready for roofing. I guess some reinforcements I'm putting on. We don't see the other side, but yeah, the main problem was aspenite, and my back was hurting, and so you'll see that I installed a winch and a sleigh on this ladder. Yeah, I think you're gonna see it here. Yes, we had built that sleigh with my dad some years ago for roofing, so for shingles. So it's just, these are pieces of flooring, and well, you see it now in action. The winch, I don't know if you can see, it's on the bottom under the ladder, and there's a pulley on top, so it's activated with Actually, there's no remote. You have to press on the button. So at least you don't have to carry a whole sheet up the ladder, which that's the worst, especially if it's windy. It's quite a feat and not very good for a backache. So so there's what 20, I think 24 sheets that went up. And well, I started on this side so I could walk, and also it's a smart thing to have full sheets on your edges for stiffness reasons of the overhangs. See, with my technique too, they don't always line up with the nailing, so I had to add some 2x4s, and so I finished in the middle. I finished splicing in the middle. You'll see. So these aspenites were 7/16. The roofing aspenites. They're the thinnest possible, and framing at 16 inches makes them stiffer than the usual 24-inch. They were $16 each, so I think equivalent in plywood was around 30. So you see now the gap while you saw it quickly. So that's the only time you're really cutting the aspenite, because I think I didn't cut even the width, because I got 18 and I probably put five going up and down, which would be 20. So that's a 1 foot overhang. See, now you see me just splice. So these gaps were not equal, but well, that's construction for you. You always have to adapt and make it work. I mean, it's you're trying to organize all those pieces. It's a Lego with fasteners. And actually, talking about Lego and fasteners, when you screw things, the good part is you can unscrew them easily, and you can adjust them. It's quite powerful, one screw. If you have like some big screws, you can pull some errors. So I really like that, but I also love the nailer, how fast it is. Then I was installing some stiffener under. So 2x4s again. You see me on my belly because I'm holding the 2x4 and screwing it from the top. I made a jig. We saw quickly right there again, and it helped at least to have the right measurement every time. So then I had some tar remains, so I decided, well, that was going to be it, and at least for the base coat, and it's a mess. It was a mess. Uh, I filmed, and I got a lot of tar everywhere on the camera, on me. Well, not a lot, but yeah, just a bit. I used to be a roofer for a few years, so I've done enough of that. And in Florida, of all things, so that was the hardest job physically, because when it's 100 degrees plus and it was hot tar. And now you see me spreading some some finer gravel over the big size gravel that was the base of the whole garage, or part of it anyway. So, and you see my gravel bucket on my four-wheeler that actually made a video you can go and watch on my channel. Now you see me installing doors that I've been keeping for a while, and a friend gave them to me about 10 years ago or something. So at least they're useful now. Yeah, so framing a door is really a matter of geometry, and you want everything vertical and have the right gaps. So now you see the framing going on also on the other side of the garage door, which I think at that point I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I'm filling in the gaps, and the space above the other door, the door that installed, was supposed to be full, and then I decided to just put a window there, which you'll see when it's all done. So really I'm prepping it for siding. That's what I'm doing now. Now the sheeting I'm trying there, I only did it there because it's a mess. It was really hard to work. I mean, the idea was to block the wind. Remember, this garage is not insulated. There's no vapor barrier inside, so it's all I mean, from the inside you'll see the siding outside, which it's actually a good way for the building to breathe. It's just not proper for any house, unless it's really nice climate. So now I started siding with I had some hemlock left over from the house, so that whole side was done with those remains. Yeah, I'm cutting up in the air with that small saw, which well, you have to be careful, of course. It's a good thing with the smaller saws; they don't have the power of a bigger one, so you might see it as a bad thing, but it's actually a safe thing when you can overpower them and they don't kick back. So plus they're lighter. So now I started deciding. So again, these are 8-footers. These are 1x6 8-footers, and well, you see how they're installed on top of each other, which doesn't make for a perfect fit, but again, I'll see them from the inside, so whatever gaps I don't like, I can always deal with them. So this is my way of making a scaffolding with wood, and I have regular scaffolding, but that's a lot easier and more adaptable. See, these are platforms from the real scaffolding, and I did put a rope. At this point I'm only a few feet from the ground, so I didn't tie. I will tie later. But and I worked from the top, meaning I could, because you can see my scaffolding is coming from the end of the house, so I could do it if you start from the bottom. So I started from the top, and then I went down the garage all around. That's a tedious job. I hurt myself a couple times doing that, because I guess you're a little more tense when you're on the scaffolding. Well, you see me with the rope and the harness, and then I put also those reinforcements for the roof, while I was at it. So that's a lot of nailing. That's where the nailer is really useful. And I tried to switch hands because I'm a right-hander, but the more I use it, the more my back hurts. So when I use my left, it kind of balances it up. So now you see me move scaffolding. It's not obvious. But I had like four stations, and I would move them as I went, and then I can just slide the platform and well, keep going, keep nailing. So it's about I don't know, 10 nails per 8 footers, and those 1x6, I think it was at least 700 of them that I bought, and these were 329, so it's another 2,000 there. But these were the two biggest expenses, the 2x4s and the 1x6s. Then I got maybe what, 35 aspenites at $16. I mean, plus taxes, of course, but what is that? That's close to 1,000. Some concrete, of course, and treated lumber. So it goes up to $6,000 total. So now, well, I've got clearly part of the bottom. I'm showing windows. The windows are all from, I mean, they're all from the side of the road, or my dad switched some at his house, and because they were fogging, so I just split them and use one pane glass, and they're all surface mounted. If you see it, I mean, it's all quick there. I could make a video if you wanted, but that's a cheap and fast way to frame windows, and I just locate them wherever. This is to protect actually the windows on the north side. Then I switch technique and I put aluminum, so I didn't have to shape, but it made like a cap to the window, and I just went, along. I had the windows, and I just installed them from the outside on the framing, and then keep on keep on slapping some siding right around without being too precise. I mean, as long as it's covering, and you can always come back later from the inside in this case because there's no insulation. I keep on, well, you see it here, and there's still gaps I have not dealt with. That means some snow is gonna find its way, but again, it's a garage. It's not perfect like a house where you really have to be careful of all the details. Now you see from the east, that's the highest part, but well, you can see the scaffolding installed, and I put another window up there, and I keep going. At least it was a sunny summer for most part of it, so that helped. Bugs were pretty bad at first, and so I would make some smoke. You can see it on the beginning of the video. You could see some smoke going, and the problem with that, it just takes time. You gotta take care of your smoke, and well, otherwise you gotta endure the bugs, which, well, even with the smoke, sometimes they don't care. So now I'm just extending my scaffolding, which is a little harder up in the air, and installing 1x4s horizontally to be able to nail my vertical siding. So there was some that I installed diagonally, which is structurally good because it helps with the racking, but I did install some reinforcement inside, and so the racking is taken care of, and even the siding helps because there's so many nails in there, so it's quite stiff, and well, the wind is not like that bad with all the trees around, but well, that's north side you can see on the right is well, it's quite exposed. Well, yeah, you gotta keep at it, and well, notice I'm not going up and down. If I had a partner, the partner would cut on the ground and and bring me the lumber, but in this case, I got the saw, I got everything where where I'm at on the platform, because in construction the biggest waste of time is motion when you have to move. I mean, it's only motion. I mean, construction is only motion, but that's why you don't want to have more than you need, because you gotta, well, at the end of the day you're tired, and time goes by quickly, so you really need to be efficient with your time and motion. So for the bottom part of the siding here, well, you can see me coming through. So I nailed the top from the inside and the bottom, well, from the outside. I think I used a ladder at some point, but so it was already a little more relaxed than being up there. And they're not cut, yeah, they're uncut. So the slope on the bottom is the slope of the roof. So it's 8 foot and 8 foot, 16 feet of and then you have the foundations right behind. So yeah, I'm just nailing the tops. So I mean the bottoms are just loose, and trying to line them up so they're they're doing their job, which is covering the wall. And well, you have to check every piece of lumber, but the one that are under, well, they don't need to be perfect because they'll be hide in the front. The one on the top will be hiding part of the one on the bottom. So the nicest ones need to be used for the top layer, and the real ugly ones, well, they can be used somewhere else. I think I did return like 30 of them. Some were really bad. Well, now you see the view from the inside, doing the top of that window. That window also, well, it's foggy. You see it's been laying around, and that's the south side that you'll see. See, you see there, those 2x4s are on the side of the others, the vertical ones. Alright, now we're outside, finishing the south side, which was the last. See, I'm going over the glass, so there's no gap, and it's easy. You don't have too much to cut and to be precise, and then you can always fill in with caulking or foam or something else. And here, of course, I'm cutting, and I'm just going as needed with the ground. I think I'll make a step somewhere in there and keep on going. So I'm feeding stuff from the inside, and yeah, my nailing base is aspenite on the bottom and 1x4, so you could argue it's not the same thickness, but really you don't see the difference. And my splicing joint, well, I didn't do it by the book, because it's a garage, and I have full access from the inside, so I'll know if there's a problem. It's not like a house. When you close the walls from the inside and there's insulation, well, that's where the damage starts. If water comes in and you're all enclosed inside, you don't see it, and it keeps some moisture, which is not the case in an uninsulated structure like this one. So I was finally finishing up, because that was a hard and long job. Now you see results. Now I'm taking care of the garage door. These are regular hinges, by the way. So now I'm building like a two-door garage, like a barn door, with again what I had in that's hemlock planks and glue. I was talking about glue, or here you go. I think you saw the Gorilla Glue and screws, and then that's the reinforcement. So remember, wood likes to be compressed, doesn't like to be in tension, so doesn't want to be pulled. So when you think about gravity, and I'm talking about that means that reinforcement is this side close to us. On the right, it's going to go on the bottom. So just the tip, that's the second one, looks like, just with 1x6. So it really cost me about nothing to make those doors, because I had the planks, and 1x6s are, well, cheap enough. And there's 3 regular hinges by side, so 6 hinges, which I bought at pack of 10 for not a lot of money. So I don't remember how much, but cheap enough. So less than 50 bucks, and I got my garage door, and it's opening outside, so that might be a problem with the snow in the winter time. And then I installed a wood stove that I again had laying for a while. You see the chimney. So it's all free stuff, but it doesn't fit always easy. Alright, well, now you see a drone shot I wanted to make that drone shot like opening up a window, which it shows that you can open a window, and it's between trusses, so in between a 16-inch, so not touching the framing at all, and just just cutting. And then I did put a piece of glass there from the inside. Well, the drone barely fits there, and going through. Well, that is it. Thanks for watching if you made it there. And well, please subscribe to help the channel, and comment please so I can answer your questions.